Welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's Discovery Day live stream. Today is October 22, 2020. We have with us a returning presenter. Actually, this is their first full presentation today. VSBLTY Group, stock symbol is VSBGF, VSBY on the CSE. The CEO is Jay Hutton. No relation to EF Hutton. But when Jay talks, everybody listens.
Some people do.
Yeah. So again, everybody who's maybe new to our program, our goal is to bring you companies which have 10x to 100x upside potential. We've had a number of those winners in the last 6 months, a number of stocks up 1,300 to 2,000%. Recently, we had a 500% gain in CloudMD, a number of other triple-digit winners, and VSB has all the hallmarks of being one of those next 10 baggers. So definitely you're going to want to see what Jay is going to have to tell you in just a few minutes. Again, they're going after big multi-billion-dollar market opportunities. Company has a number of catalysts in place which can create that value, and they're really at the threshold of that explosive growth. So with that said, let me turn it over to Jay. Jay, take it away.
Thank you, Jack. We had talked before about, I'm going to start a little bit with a quick introduction to the company, and then if possible, I'll play a 2-minute video, which really kind of does a good job at sort of summarizing the opportunity that we have in front of us as an organization. But first of all, just as a quick introduction, VSBLTY is an artificial intelligence company with its principal proprietary software being in the computer vision category. We teach computers how to interpret and understand the things that they see. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna advance here to this slide here. Computer vision is an interdisciplinary scientific field that deals with how computers can gain high-level understanding from digital images and videos. Really, the technology we build started with cars. Really, the whole idea of an autonomous vehicle starting back, I guess, about 15 or 18 years ago, the idea that cameras or sensors can be used to inform software that will make decisions using input from those cameras. And so on that note, really quickly, I'm
dynamic and digital. More than an animated sign, a creative ad, or a head-turning spectacular, digital signage with the right software can become an invaluable analytics tool. That's where VSBLTY comes in. VSBLTY's SaaS software and optics empower digital display to make it smarter, with the ability to recognize who is looking at its message, interacting with them, and engaging by the brands that play on them. And all this happens in real time. VSBLTY takes passive digital signage and makes it proactive. Now, with proactive digital displays, VSBLTY provides more actionable intelligence than ever before. VSBLTY software has proprietary facial analytics that reveal viewer demographic profiles, including age and gender, mood state, as well as interactivity, length of engagement, number of impressions, and even the percentage of people looking at the sign. In addition to enhancing the customer experience, the brand's presence, and measuring purchase patterns, digital signage can now help aid in public safety with VSBLTY Vector. With this advanced software, digital place-based signage equipped with VSBLTY software can view crowded public venues, identifying persons of interest by cross-referencing law enforcement and watch list databases. In seconds, Vector will notify security to mobilize, intercept, and prevent possible tragic events from happening. This enhancement to current security and surveillance programs make Vector an invaluable tool in the war against terror. And coming in our next software release, with advanced object recognition and machine learning, we can identify objects, including weapons, that pose a potential threat to any venue. This makes VSBLTY Vector the perfect addition to new or existing digital signage being deployed in all retail and out-of-home applications. An enhancement to security in airports, transit hubs, public squares, sports stadiums, schools, and university campuses, making the future of digital place-based media smarter and more dynamic and ubiquitous than ever before.
A little bit of the overview. I said momentarily a moment ago that we use computer vision to computer vision and artificial intelligence along with machine learning to transform retail and security through an extensible, scalable, subscription-based platform. What's important to understand about what VSBLTY does is we're addressing a specific and compelling need in two discrete marketplaces, but we're addressing that need with the same software. In retail, the critical components are informing retail in real time using computer vision what's going on in retail. That is a benefit. That's a benefit to the retailer themselves, customer journey, the number of people in the store, but it's also incredibly valuable to a brand like Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Procter & Gamble, Unilever. All of these individual brands are looking for ways to engage consumers in active engagement in retail. And digital display is a way to do that. And the way to measure it is with computer vision. Computer vision has this unique ability to count people, to understand age, to understand gender, understand sentiment, understand movement of persons within retail, especially with respect to their engagement to digital display. And digital display is, of course, an exploding marketplace, somewhere in the neighborhood of 4% to 5% penetration in retail today, going to 80–85% within 4 years. The second marketplace that we apply this technology to, again, it's data collection, artificial intelligence, and computer vision, is in security. It's an obvious category, and security has a particular weakness. That is, we're overwhelming operators with too many cameras to look at. And we're not making this problem easier, we're making it more acute. Tragically, we're providing these operators with more cameras to look at. And human beings only have a modest ability to really take that kind of input, but computers, software, do not have that limitation. We've got the ability to take in 10 feeds, 1,000 feeds, 10,000 feeds without any coffee break or any wage, or, so we've got this ability to take video feeds and look for anomalous activities within those video feeds. An example might be a person of interest or a weapon or people running from left of frame to right of frame. So these are the categories that we participate in. I'm very proud of the management team. We're all sort of been there, done that before. Myself, I'm a serial entrepreneur, multiple startups, second public company. And of course, the rest of the team, though I won't spend a whole lot of time talking about each of the individuals, come from retail. Or my co-founder and CTO is long-term Microsoft, long time, and been part of the Microsoft Access development team, which was one of the first databases developed in the Microsoft ecosystem. And of course, incredibly valuable to us in terms of proximity to Microsoft, which we've had benefit from the beginning, but also in terms of the building the core plumbing of the technology. Also on our advisory board, I made mention moments ago of our participation both in the retail and security sector. In the security sector, it's important to have individuals that know that landscape. And we have two former FBI guys on our advisory board. And one of the things that's been very beneficial for us is to get an invitation to that party. If you're selling security solutions and you don't have access through law enforcement, then you're really not going to have much success. It's a very fraternal, self-referencing marketplace, and we've had enormous success in there, mostly because of our two spokespeople. So broadly speaking about the marketplace, I mentioned that we're sitting astride two marketplaces. In retail, really quickly, the analysis of retail right now is that brands, large brands, as I mentioned before, Unilever, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, and others, are discovering that retail is a very excellent place to deliver promotional activities. It has become an advertising medium, and retailers themselves have discovered that this to their own benefit, frankly, when they can turn their shelves into digital real estate, that real estate becomes attractive to brands. So I was very interested to learn very recently, we stopped talking to a large convenience store operation that talked about their 40 million consumer visits per month. But instead of saying consumer visits, they use the language impression. We have 40 million impressions per month, which is an interesting phrase for a traditional retail person to be using because that's advertising language. And we're now learning that retailers are understanding that. And because we're a digital display company that does measurement, the principal reason why digital display hasn't done what it should have done in the last 20 years is it lacked measurement. Computer vision delivers measurement, much like Google delivered measurement to the internet in the late 90s and early 2000s. we're delivering the same capability into physical stores, bricks and mortar. And that means that the advertising, the impressions delivered at that location are worth considerably more because now they're measured, now they're auditable, now they're verifiable. The second marketplace that we participate is in security. We teach cameras to look for anomalous behaviors, anomalous actions within streaming video. And that's the security side. We look for persons of interest. We look for anomalous behavior. We look for weapons. We look for things in security streams that could easily be missed by operators, and frankly, are frequently missed by operators. So the three discrete software modules tied together under a single solutions umbrella are the analytics. If you're a retailer, you're interested in all the necessary analytics pieces, and the core analytics will be things like footfall, the number of people, the number of men, the number of women, the sentiment of people taken both in specifically individually or in aggregate, their engagement with signage. Are they looking? Are they not looking? Are they passing by and not looking at all? Are they passing by, looking, and then continuing? All those analytics, of course, informed by artificial intelligence and computer vision, are part of the data capture module. Vision Capture is our content management solution. It is the visual display piece, and Vector is our persons of interest security piece. You see some screenshots there from our Mexico deployment. At the bottom of this screen, you see some various applications in retail. We're actually deploying signage, of course, signage, which is also informed by computer vision for measurement purposes. How do we transform physical spaces? We use algorithms. The algorithms sit on processors that are in the store, and the processors understand the nature of the video stream and can pull out contextualized data from that video stream. So what's important about visibility, the quick takeaway is that we are, as an executive management team, sort of seasoned and been around. We weren't interested in building a $30 to $50 million, lifestyle business. For us, it was whatever it took us to build a $500 million to $1 billion company. And so for the first foundation years of the company's business, we focused on building significant and global channel partners. The biggest of those is in the upper left-hand corner of this slide is Centromatic. This is the world's largest retail technology company. We, in September of last year, signed a comprehensive OEM deal where they take our products mentioned on 2 slides previous and relabel them as their own and take them into their marketplace. You see on the rest of this slide other companies with whom we've engaged from a channel partner orientation. Noteworthy in this particular slide is a deployment we did starting in September of 2019 in Mexico City. This is the largest deployment of smart city cameras in the northern hemisphere in the last 2 years. This is a 40,000 camera project. It is deployed. It is being deployed right now. It's at about 5,000 cameras. It's deployed principally in Mexico City, though not exclusively in Mexico City. Mexico City itself has multiple counties, and Mexico City also has a significant crime problem. As this technology deploys, cameras and artificial intelligence. So it's got surveillance ability, but it's also got the ability to pick persons of interest or weapons out of crowds for the purposes of alarming. That's a core artificial intelligence or computer vision unique capability, and of course is being leveraged. Instead of deploying surveillance and then hoping like heck that people will watch the camera feeds, this is surveillance with an artificial intelligence layer. So we're very proud of this. It's done remarkable things in Mexico City with 40% crime reduction in one of the counties where there's been significant penetration of the surveillance cameras. And of course, we have a couple of mayors that are talking about being reelected because of the impact the surveillance network has had. Significant and important social service and significant benefit to the community. UST Global, I want to mention really quickly before I move forward, because they're a significant global integrator in retail. They do a lot of business with Walmart, a lot of business with Ahold, 2 large US retailers, and we're now embedded in 2 of their products and are becoming more embedded as they advance in each of those opportunities. You see on this slide our projections on each of the channels. So our principal modality, our go-to-market, is indirect. We go through partners, and of course that gives us the ability to what I call force multipliers. These people, once familiar with our product, then do our bidding. They tell our story, and we support them. The COVID-19 has been interesting because it represented to us some opportunities. Of course, it's tragic in every regard, but the silver lining for us is that some of the problems associated with reopening are computer vision problems. You know, take for example a retailer who might be restricted to 400 persons in the retail location by fire marshal capacity limits prior to COVID. That might be 200 post-COVID. Computer vision counts people. It can count people in retail and provide a real-time capacity management metric to the retailer. We can also see if people are wearing masks. We can also check people's temperature as they enter retail. All these are COVID-19, and you know, there was a time when we thought that this was going to be a flash in the pan and maybe only having a one-year impact on our technologies and some of our channel velocity, but this is going to be around for a while, frankly, and we're getting significant traction in this area. We did an announcement a week ago where we're actually embedding our product in the third largest kiosk manufacturer in the world, and they're building our technology into their system. It's actually began shipping this week for thermal detection and access control. And the hypothesis here is commercial buildings are looking for you not only to determine, to validate that you are who you are, which is a facial recognition problem, but also that you're well, that you're not running a temperature. So combining those two capabilities, those are both computer vision challenges, and that's perfect for what we offer and deliver as an organization. Briefly on this slide, I'd like to talk about our relationship with Intel, which has been long and comprehensive, and getting more comprehensive. In this year, in 2020, the bulk of our first quarter revenue in any event, it was Intel working on a specific project for a large international sporting event using computer vision to inform operating logistics. How many people are in the buses, how many parking spots are empty. Those are both computer vision challenges, and those are the types of things that we do in order to provide benefit to our customers. Of course, you can see how that would apply to venues, to retail, to smart cities, that sort of thing. And we're looking to do additional advancements with the Intel relationship as time goes forward. Not only have we done that in the computer vision category, but down at the bottom of this slide, the PRTI fund recipient, that's the Pandemic Response Technology Initiative initiated by Intel back in March. And we were one of the very few recipients of funds to develop our capabilities. In this case, it was in the thermal category. So some of the milestones, what are we doing as an organization? How do we measure our success? Well, we do a lot in retail, and this the first one, Checkmark, was deployed in July of this year with the second largest drug retailer in the USA. That's been going well and is scaling as we speak. The second one is a smart cities test that we've been doing in Times Square. Actually, we started this in January 1st in Times Square, and it has been impacted by the fact that several of the months where we're running this pilot, there was nobody in Times Square. So it's actually come alive again the last couple months, and we're using this to test and validate some of the new technologies we're deploying. Other milestones on this is, as we'll go through, probably in this month or early next month, we'll be deploying a significant mesh network in Mexico City in the county of Benito Juarez, which is in Mexico City. And as I mentioned earlier in my presentation, we launched an integrated thermal kiosk with kiosk information systems. The balance of the milestones that we're talking about here, I guess the highlighted ones, we should be checking one more. The launch of the visibility-led smart retail consortium at the Milan Innovation District in Milan, Italy, was a very important milestone. It's an initiative led by Lend-Lease, which is one of the largest property companies in the world. We are the leader of the smart retail thematic area, which means that we're doing interesting and innovative development activities with partners in this category. It's really an interesting incubator, and we're delighted to have been selected to be the leader of that category. Other participants in that smart retail consortium will be announced soon, but you can expect those will be significant participants and significant brands. The most important thing here on this slide, obviously they're all critical milestones, but we'll be looking to do more announcements in the next several weeks, and really launching the company into what we think will be 2021, which will be a very significant deal for us in terms of revenues. For 2020, we expect to close. We're a SaaS company, so we do bookings and billings. We talk about both. Bookings being sort of the real-time revenue recognition metric, and billings being the projected, the backlog, if you will. And this year, those two metrics are between 2 and 4 million on the billings basis in 2020, which represents a significant quantum growth over last year. And on a bookings basis, between 8 and 10 million this year. So really, if you're looking for inflection, that's exactly where we are as an organization, and delighted to now be putting some rubber on the road. In terms of our share metrics, I have to quickly update this on the fly. We're trading at about 18, 19 cents a share, which would infer a $25 to $26 million market cap, 134 million shares issued and outstanding. Excuse me, issued and outstanding. So in terms of summary highlights, we are an AI company advancing computer vision. We were the world's first weapons recognition classified library. We have 500 weapons in a classified library. We built that ourselves. That's 100% of our own IP. That's been deployed at a few locations. We have a significant partnership ethos and channel partners, and we're using that to transform retail, really significantly making significant inroads in retail in terms of digital activations in retail and the growth of the AI and computer vision in retail. Kind of been there, done that management who have all invested in this company. And important noteworthy point about this company is we didn't actually access external capital till we went through our initial minimum viable product, landed our first customer, perfected the model, sort of de-risked as much as we could de-risk. And we, to the tune of about $3.5 million US, we did that all ourselves. And of course, the rest in terms of what I've said before, international partnerships, and of course, a little bit of a silver lining with respect to COVID. And that COVID stuff is going to begin to have an impact in the current quarter as we begin to ship those units. So thank you, Jack. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Okay. Jay, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, great. Yeah, we got a bunch of questions coming in now. Okay, so Jack is asking, the Jack from the other presentation. He's asking, saw that you'll be doing a special presentation at Lenovo Tech World on Wednesday, October 28th. Can you expand on the opportunity this presents, as well as the relationship with Lenovo?
The Lenovo relationship was actually a surprise to us. We got quite excited. I mentioned before in the slide deck that we have an Intel, we're an Intel development partner. One of the largest companies that leverages Intel product is Lenovo, and they have a global presence. And we are a selected partner. We're one of only 2 companies presenting at the Lenovo Tech event, and the other one isn't even close to our category. And because of that, it represents, I don't want to foreshadow it too much, but we're looking at a very significant relationship with Lenovo, not only with respect to our alliance with them, but our possible participation with them as an OEM partner. So that's a very significant area for us, and Lenovo is extremely excited about retail. They're also very excited about artificial intelligence, and that's why we've managed to work together in developing a strong relationship, which, as I said, will get stronger.
Okay, he's asking a follow-up question. Not sure if the market fully appreciates the scale of the recent news with Lend-Lease and their $4 billion project in Milan. What other companies are you collaborating with on this project, and do you foresee additional synergies with any of them?
Oh yeah, in fact, there's a project already. We've only announced that deal. It's maybe been 2 weeks before it was soft launched, and then it was launched by the company a week later, by VSBLTY a week later. And we're already in 2 deployment conversations connected to other companies that are also part of the Milan Innovation District. I can't disclose who they are yet, but a very large Italian Whole Foods, like a premium food retailer, that's one of them. And the second one is a defense contractor in Italy that is interested in our facial recognition technology. So those are both unexpected, and they happen very fast, which is typical for visibility. We have a unique capability, and we get wrapped up into these conversations, and everything occurs very rapidly. So the second half of Jack's question is, who else is going to be part of? So we have the opportunity and the obligation as part of the retail thematic area lead to invite other companies into the retail thematic area. We've delivered 6 such invites. 3 companies have accepted. 3 more are likely to accept. And when that consortium is finalized, we will be announcing it. But not a single one of those companies has revenues of less than $10 billion. So we're going to be surrounded by some big monsters, and we're going to be leading the initiative, which to us is fascinating and fantastic.
Okay. Douglas is asking, where do you procure your data scientists to drive your AI platform?
Where do we procure them?
Yeah, your data scientists. He wants to go into business.
We have internal data scientists. Just as the CEO, I get to make the following comment. Perhaps the most overpaid. They're always the youngest people in the company, and they always make the most money. That's data science right now. It's incredibly valuable to have these people that know how to correlate, combine, and draw insights from data. Data is useless, inert. Like as data, it's useless. The people that are valuable are the people that can take that data and draw insights from it. We made a presentation a year ago to the chief commercial officer of Tyson Foods after we ran a campaign in retail that was targeted at 45-year-old men, because that's what computer vision can do. We can see who's coming down the aisle, and we can drive an ad directly to that demographic. And the comment made by the chief commercial officer was, his mind was blown. He'd never seen this kind of data before. And that's the value of a data scientist. You know, you can extract the data and you can draw meaning from it. An example of the meaning would be, drive your 45-year-old advertising between 6 and 8 o'clock on Thursday and Friday night, because that's when the men are in retail. No other time at that time. I'm just making it up. We also learned that, because we did a similar activation in liquor at the same location, that people thinks that it's Thirsty Thursdays, that's when you sell liquor. Well, it's not. It's Wednesdays when you sell liquor. And I don't know why that is, but that's what our data showed. So that those are 2 examples of information provided by data scientists, cameras, that allows retail to pivot on a specific data point and optimize retail. That's really what it's all about.
Wow, very valuable. Okay, so Douglas is asking another question here. Is there a machine learning component to advance the technology to a more minority report ID direct marketing to individual consumer platform?
The barriers to becoming a minority report application are legal, not technological. By that, I mean, all of the plumbing exists to do exactly what minority report does. And for those of the people on the phone that are on the call that don't understand what that is, that means if Jack Marks is walking down the aisle, the liquor aisle, say, and we know he has a preference for Merlots from a certain valley in California. We know that about him from a loyalty perspective. We can target Jack as an individual. Hey, Jack, there's a brand new wine. We'd like you to try it. That the only restrictions to doing that right now today is Jack opting in, which removes any legal barriers. All the technology, all the plumbing, all the science, even the testing is behind us. We know how to do this. So if Jack were to opt in, and it's really an exchange of, I'm going to give up a little bit of privacy and I get in return something of value to me, that's the only riddle we have to solve at the moment. And it's being solved over time.
Yeah, you know, Jay, you know, it's interesting that you're doing this deployment in Milan, because, you know, Italy is actually you know, very security conscious country. I mean, this is like one of the few places in Europe where you have guys, you know, with you know, automatic weapons on like every corner in all the, you know, you know, key cities, so all the key areas. So
we've taken great pains to be GDPR compliant, and GDPR is General Data Privacy Regulation, which is Europe's variant of privacy regulation. So nothing we do actually exposes identity unless you opt in. If you opt in, that's the HOV lane in GDPR. You can go into that lane, and once you're in that lane, you've given up, you've opted in, and you can now allow yourself to be marketed to as an identity. If you're not in that lane, and most of our applications are not in that lane, we're privacy compliant, so we have to do certain things with how we manage the data to ensure that we're privacy compliant. But that There are no restrictions. And it is for us, the value for being in Milan is to make sure that we had an on-the-ground experience with respect to how our privacy product works.
Okay. Jack T is asking another question here. Are there other places you see computer vision expanding to besides security, contact tracing, and advertising?
Yeah, well, it's already expanded to it. Think of industrial applications for computer vision where you're doing quality control, maybe. Computers are much better at us as human beings to picking up subtle variants in product. So if you're looking for, I don't know, the quality of a rivet on a product that's coming off an assembly line, a camera pointed at that location will pick up variances on that rivet. And that's one, and you see a ton of that. Quality control is a big one. Manufacturing applications, we see a lot of access control, and that's a category we're moving into aggressively. Sure, it's facial recognition, but what that is in general is Jack Marks has got the ability to access this area, but not this area. So access control connecting Jack's face to the places he's allowed to go, but identifying his face as not being allowed to go to a third place is another area. And then the last area, and this is a category which we're investing in right now, is face as payment. Not just face, but face plus another factor. Face plus maybe an NFC reader that detects my credit card. Those two things taken together will be considered to be a secure application and allow for access to funds. So you're going to see facial recognition on ATM machines within 2 years, as an example, as a login characteristic.
Wow. Okay. David is asking two questions here. Question one, can Vector sense human temperatures? Question two, are you 5G connected already?
5G to, well, I'm going to take them in reverse order. 5G is just a connectivity methodology. For example, on the milestone slide that I showed, we're going to be lighting up a Wi-Fi 6 implementation in Mexico City. And to break it down for those of us that are interested, we all have Wi-Fi in our homes. That's a variant of Wi-Fi. If you take that Wi-Fi idea and you put it into a community, it's the same technology, but it can just go further in terms of physically further. That's Wi-Fi 6. Wi-Fi 6 is very similar to 5G. It operates in similar spectrum. It operates in some of the same ways. So for us, it's just a transport layer. It moves the bits around. So we're completely compatible with 5G. And in fact, we're very interested in the growth and the rapid adoption of 5G. The second question, remind me, Jack?
Can Vector sense human temperature?
Okay, so we're doing that now. We happen not to put thermal detection in our Vector suite. It's in our data capture suite because it's considered to be anonymous data, but we're doing that right now. We got the ability to connect temperature to identity, where those two modules, data capture and Vector, will work together. But we're doing that now.
Okay. Jeremy is asking an interesting question here. How is your company providing service to the advertisers? How do you help them integrate their target advertising for different client categories?
It's an interesting question and it's involved. So we are subject matter experts on shopper marketing and product marketing. So when we engage with a brand, as an example, we help the brand communicate to the retailer about how the brand leverages digital placement in retail. This is a comprehensive solution set, and we sell that expertise. We don't give it away, we sell it. And so we help a brand figure out how to leverage digital placement in retail for the maximum output and the maximum measurement. So this is part of our everyday engagement. So the large pharmacy deployment we did starting in July, we did that on behalf of the second largest pharma company in the world. And that company, because of the success on that specific project, we now have 5 new projects with that one company, who have just under that one company's umbrella 65 discrete consumer brands. So there's a huge opportunity. The benefit to the brands isn't just education, which of course is valuable to them, but it's the measurement that comes from it, and the fact that they sell more product, not just a little bit more product, but 25 to 35%. As more clarity on the July campaign, that was for Claritin. And we launched that campaign, oddly enough, outside of the pollen season, which you would think would be negatively impacting sales. It didn't. It lifted sales by 25 to 28%, depending upon the location. So that's what's in it for brands. More products sold because of the engagement and interactive with customers, measurement and ROI, and of course, the association of the brand then with technology and innovation, which of course they all want.
Okay, any more questions? No, I think that's it. All right, Jay, thank you for the update. Thank you everybody for joining us today on our live stream. And Jay, we're gonna have you back probably in a week or two for an update. I think we're gonna have one. We'll probably go to the live chat format that we do, you know, on YouTube. That'll be a lot of fun for everybody. So everybody in the audience, please stay tuned. Check your, if you're on our email list, check for the invites, and we will see you all the next one. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.